A lot of people will say it looks like we let a bear into our living room, but when you see them together, you understand why we call him our gentle giant. Drax weighs 125 pounds of pure muscle and love, and he's been waiting for this moment since the day we brought him home as a tiny puppy. We adopted Drax when he was just 8 weeks old, this little ball of wrinkled skin and oversized paws. 3 months later, I found out I was pregnant. I remember sitting on the couch, processing the news, and Drax just climbed right into my lap like he always did. Except this time felt different. He rested his massive head on my stomach so gently, like he already knew. As my belly grew over those 9 months, Drax never left my side. Every morning, he'd wait for me to sit down before positioning himself at my feet. Every night, he'd curl up next to me with his head on my lap, one paw stretched across my stomach. My husband used to joke that Drax thought he was the father. And honestly, I couldn't wait to see these two soulmates meet for the first time. But I'm noticing you haven't hit that subscribe button yet, and that genuinely makes me sad because you're missing out on stories like this every week. The day we brought our son home from the hospital, Drax was waiting at the door. We'd prepared him for weeks, bringing home blankets with the baby's scent, playing recordings of crying babies, doing everything the books told us to do, but nothing prepared me for what actually happened. We walked in with our newborn in his carrier, and Drax just sat there, completely still, staring at this tiny human we'd brought into his world. Then he walked over slowly, sniffed once, and laid down right next to the carrier. He didn't move for 3 hours. From that moment on, they were inseparable. We set up a playpen in our living room, and Drax would lie on the outside of it for hours, just watching. If the baby made a sound, Drax was alert immediately. If the baby cried, Drax would come find me, like he was saying, "Mom, the little one needs you." It was the most beautiful thing I'd ever witnessed. When our son was about 6 months old, we started tummy time. I'd lay him on his playmat and encourage him to lift his head to start building those neck muscles. One day, I put him down and walked into the kitchen for just a minute. When I came back, Drax was lying right next to him, rolled over on his back, kicking his legs in the air. I swear, he was trying to show the baby how to roll over. And you know what? 2 weeks later, our son rolled over for the first time, and Drax was right there cheering him on with that tail that could knock over furniture. By the time our son was 1 year old, Drax was fully grown at 125 pounds. People were terrified when they'd see them together. "Isn't that dangerous?" they'd ask. "What if the dog hurts him?" But they didn't understand what we saw every single day. This massive dog, who could easily overpower a grown adult, would freeze in place when our toddler grabbed his ears. He'd let this tiny human climb all over him, pull his tail, and use him as a pillow without ever showing a hint of annoyance. Our son's first steps were magical, but not for the reason most parents describe. He didn't walk to me or his father. He walked to Drax. That big, gentle dog had been lying across the room, and our son just decided he needed to get to his best friend. He let go of the couch, took 5 wobbly steps, and collapsed into Drax's fur. I cried for 20 minutes. For his second birthday, we got our son a ball pit. You know, one of those little inflatable pools filled with colorful plastic balls. The first time he climbed in, Drax watched from the side with this look of pure confusion. Then, without any warning, this 125-pound dog just stepped right into the ball pit with him. Balls went everywhere. The pit nearly collapsed, but our son's laughter was worth every single popped ball and broken toy. The park became their kingdom. Every Saturday morning, we'd load up and head to the dog park, where Drax and our son would run wild together. Other parents would watch nervously as this massive dog galloped around with a toddler chasing after him. But Drax always knew where he was. If our son fell, Drax would stop immediately and wait for him to get up. If another dog got too close too fast, Drax would position himself between them. He wasn't more than a pet. He was a guardian, a brother, a soulmate. Last Christmas was the first year our son really understood Santa Claus. We talked about it for weeks, shown him pictures, watched all the movies, but when Santa actually showed up at our door for a surprise visit, our son didn't run to him with excitement. He reached back for Drax, grabbed onto his collar, and looked up at that big dog like he was saying, "Are you seeing this too? Is this real?" Drax just sat there calmly, tail wagging slowly, like he was reassuring him that everything was okay. Honestly, I think Drax enjoyed Santa more than our son did. People ask me all the time if I ever worry about having such a large dog around my child, and my answer is always the same. I trust Drax more than I trust most humans. He's changed everything about how I see dogs, especially large breeds that get such unfair reputations. Watching these two grow up together has shown me the most beautiful side of the bond between children and animals. There's something magical about the way Drax understands boundaries without being taught. When our son learned to walk, he'd stumble and grab onto Drax's fur to steady himself. This massive dog would freeze mid-step, becoming a living statue until the little hands let go. When our son started talking, his first animal sound wasn't a cow or a cat. It was trying to bark like Drax, and Drax would bark back, softer than usual, like he was having an actual conversation with him. The most incredible moment happened last month during a thunderstorm. Our son has always been terrified of loud noises, and this particular storm was violent. Thunder crashed so loud our windows rattled. I ran to his room expecting to find him crying, but instead I found Drax already there. He'd somehow opened the door and was lying across our son's bed, covering him like a blanket. Our son was holding onto Drax's collar, completely calm, while that big dog just absorbed all his fear. I think about all the lessons Drax is teaching our son without words. Patience when our son takes too long putting on his shoes and Drax waits by the door. Loyalty when Drax refuses to eat his dinner until our son is home from daycare. Unconditional love when our son is having a tantrum and Drax just sits there calmly until he's ready for a hug. These aren't things I can teach through words or discipline. These are soul-deep lessons that only come from having a companion who loves you regardless of your worst moments. This morning, I found them both asleep on the couch. Our son was sprawled across Drax's back, drooling on his fur, and Drax was in the most uncomfortable position imaginable, but he didn't move. He never moves when his boy needs him. That's what soulmates do. They show up, they stay, and they love without conditions. Do you believe every child should grow up with a dog, or do you think it depends on the family situation?